World War III fears grow. Battle gets bloodier. I say bring it on. Bring it on. I'm at a point where I just don't care anymore. And granted, it's easy for me to say that because I'm childless and I'm 50 years old and I'm already past the enlistment age, but I will go fight. I will go fight if it does come down to that. And by the way, for the few people who watch my videos, thank you. Thank you. This is what you're probably thinking. Well, this guy's all over the place, doing atheist videos, and he's talking about World War III. Sometimes he's doing a drawing. Sometimes they almost seem like quality documentaries, but not quite. And then there's other times he's just talking crap without a script. And yeah, this is the base model. This is free form. I'm still trying to figure out which one works. And you know what? Why not? I'm going to probably just go for all of them. I'm going to go for all different models of making videos. And one of the other ones that I will be making soon is, if you think I'm all over the place, wait till you see the one that I want to do about why do women get into porn, which I think is going to be one of my best videos so far. But right now I was reading, just catching up, and it's funny, catching up on the news. And I usually go to the Drudge Report. And I honestly, usually whenever I go to the Drudge Report, I'm always like, is it World War III already? I literally think that. And I've been thinking that for years every time I check in. And, oh, by the way, since this is one of my base model videos, in other words, this is single take. I didn't write a script. I'm just doing this right off the cuff. You're probably going to hear my wife in the background, probably my cat. She's actually doing the laundry. So if you hear any music, you're not going to hear music. It might sound like music in the background. It's just because I'm just going for it. Anyway, why would I actually welcome World War III? Well, I'm not welcoming World War III. I don't want World War III to happen. Of course not. But if it does, you know what? Maybe we deserve it as a species. Maybe we deserve World War III, and we deserve the nuclear annihilation that we end up getting. This is what happens when human beings continue believing in religions that are obviously bullshit. They can't all be true at the same time. Okay? And I'm not going to get into that. I've already made enough of those videos. For anybody who still doesn't get it, keep watching my videos is all I can say. So this is what we get for number one, having religions. And by the way, in Russia, it's Bishop Kirill who actually said, God put you in power to Putin. He actually told Vladimir Putin that God put him in power. And if we have World War III, this is what we get. This is going to be the ultimate lesson, I think. Not only to finally rid the world of religions, but hopefully to rid the world of political tribalism and all this identity politics and all this nationalism and all this nonsense. I'm down to die. I'm down to die. You want to know why I'm down to die? Because my grandfather, who is in this history book, I mean, granted, it's a Cuban history book, so as far as the rest of the world's concerned, this is just a gigantic footnote. But my granddad, not my great-great-grandfather, no, my dad's dad, he's right here, okay? That's him. And yeah, that's back before like photography. He actually fought in the real independence war of Cuba, right? With a machete in his hand, like one of these things, okay? And back then, they didn't have a saw. They didn't double up as saws either. It was straight on machete, but he was a gun runner. So he actually knew how to use a shotgun and stuff like that. And he actually got lost out at sea twice. And that's how he met my grandmother, not when he was out at sea, but when he was up in New York City. He actually went to New York City. It's no wonder. I always wondered, why do I have this strong desire to go to New York City? Maybe I am the reincarnation of my granddad. I don't believe that shit, but it could be. Hey, who knows? It's not really. I'm just entertaining the thought. But my granddad, when he was up in New York City as a tobacco sales, he actually sold cigars. He rolled and sold cigars up there. I mean, he was Cuban after all. And I did look it up in the city records over in the New York Library, back when I used to work on Madison Avenue. And every once in a while I would go to the library, especially whenever I was, just bored, really, and there wasn't much to do at work. I would go there and I would almost slightly bond with the ghost of my granddad in the city records over in the New York Public Library. And I used to think to myself, wow, man, his life was so much harder than mine. And when he lived up in New York, he met my grandmother on the Brooklyn Bridge. And it's just amazing how life was so vastly different back then in 1895. That was around the time that he was over there. And he had to fight in a war. And then here's the irony. He fought in what is the real Revolutionary War of Cuba, the war for the real independence and freedom of the Cuban people from Spain. Only to then, like 70 years later, his son, my dad, has to escape a communist dictatorship that took over Cuba and flees to Spain, the very country that my grandfather fought against. And that's where I was born. I was born in Spain. And yeah, it's funny how everything just, comes around. I wouldn't say full circle, but that proves the chaos that is life. And it also proves that there is no God. I mean, I think if anything, we really need to get past this crap with gods, and I say it plural because it's many of them. It's many of them. People always think, no, there's different names, but it's all the same person. No, it's a gigantic collective reflex of the human psyche. It's what the brain does. It ends up being this reflex where we personify, especially forces of nature that we do not yet understand and much less control, which is why there used to be gods of war. I don't want any more wars. Of course not. But if that's what it takes to get rid of the Putins of the world and the remaining Castro regime of Cuba, which is obviously siding with Putin, we need to take a stand against, I'm not going to call it evil, because it's really not evil. This is not demonic spirits. It's malignancy. It's what it definitely is. It's malignancy, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be severed at the head like a snake. And I've had snakes. I've actually had 3 snakes in my life. 1 African ball python and 2 boa constrictors. And they're beautiful animals. But there does come a point when snakes get too big. And I remember when my boa constrictor became like 6 feet and she tried to constrict me. She was getting there. She was testing to see if she could finally swallow me whole. And that's when I donated her to the Bronx Zoo. And I remember I thought it was a male the whole time, but since I was always iffy, I'm not sure if it's really a male or a female, I just called it Sammy at the time. And I remember because I used to work at an advertising agency. One of our clients was the Bronx Zoo. And we had a connection with somebody there, and I told them the story about my snake. My snake was getting out of control. I one time crawled into the wall and stuff like that, and almost called the fire department, which I'm so glad I didn't. I ended up getting the snake out of the wall by tricking it that there was a mouse. And anyway, don't need to get into those details. The bottom line is somebody from the Bronx Zoo was breeding snakes, and they needed a male boa constrictor. And I was like, perfect. I'm going to give Sammy the life I think Sammy deserves. I'm going to put him out the stud like a stallion. And I get a call like a couple days later after, the guy, he's like, Sammy's a she. I'm like, oh, damn, dude. And this was back before the whole gender pronoun crap. So anyway, what am I getting at? World War III, bring it on. I think we need it. We need to flush out a lot of the malignancy that is walking across this planet. And people like Putin and his inner circle of evil. Hey, look, I'll use the word evil. Why not? People like that, it's kill or be killed. That's all they respond to. That's it. And I think in their case, they've already crossed quite the line with humanity. I mean, I think of the amount of Russians that have already died. I think it's well into like 90,000, possibly more Russians that have died for their selfish hold on not just power, on lives of absolute luxury. That's what these people are fighting for. I think they're also fighting to keep themselves from being tried at The Hague and ending up like Slobodan Milosevic from Yugoslavia. Look, I'm no historian, but we need to take on this fight. And so for anybody out there who's like, oh no, this whole thing with Ukraine, because there's a lot of people who are against Ukraine. And look, I'm not for sending another $10 billion to Ukraine. Of course not. I'm a fiscal conservative. And it's a shame that a lot of people are lining their pockets from this war. But something has to be done. At some point or another, we need to rid the planet of dictatorships. And if it takes a goddamn fucking machete to do it, I'll do it. Okay? I think I'm probably speaking. I think I should probably tone it down now. I'm going to still keep it as a single take. I'm not going to edit this at all. If this does go out, because my wife is going to decide whether I put this out there or not. So if it does go out, it's because my wife gave it a blessing. I'd like to end this video by saying, check out the links down below for my art and merchandise that I have for sale. Now, these shirts, this is from Teesprings, and I'm having trouble with Teesprings. If anybody is ordering from the links down below and you're having issues, please let me know, because I got to deal with this. Now, I've had good experiences with Teesprings before, and I hope nobody has any bad experiences ordering what I consider to be really quality merchandise when you actually do receive it. I'm waiting for 2 t-shirts that I haven't gotten and I should be getting. So look, that's how honest I'm trying to be with you, the viewer. So with that said, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, check out the links down below for my original art and merchandise that I have for sale. And thanks for watching.